Hey coaches, today we're going to be talking about aerobic fitness, what it is and how it affects both the general population and the athletic population. So aerobic fitness refers to the body's ability to use oxygen effectively and efficiently to produce energy for physical activity. This type of fitness is crucial for a variety of activities, from daily activities like walking and household chores, right through to more intense athletic pursuits like running or cycling. In the general population, aerobic fitness is important for maintaining overall health and well-being. It can help reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and also improve cardiovascular function and mental health. For the athletic population, aerobic fitness is even more crucial. It is a key component of many sports and is essential for endurance activities such as marathons or triathlons or long distance cycling. Aerobic fitness also plays a critical role in recovery from intense training sessions and competitions. Aerobic fitness is essential for both the general population and the athletic population. As coaches, it is our job to help the people that we work with develop and maintain this type of fitness to support their overall health and athletic performance. So next, let's talk about some of the ways that we can test our aerobic capacity or our fitness levels. There are several different fitness tests that can be used to assess aerobic capacity for both the general population and the athletic population. So let's run through a few of those examples. For the general population, I want to talk about 3 easy to implement and well-researched tests. First, we have the Rockport Walking Test. This test is a 1-mile test that assesses aerobic capacity based on heart rate and walk times. Second, we have a 12-minute run-walk test. In this test, participants run or walk as far as they can in 12 minutes to assess aerobic capacity. And finally, we have the 6-minute walk test. Participants walk as far as they can in 6 minutes to assess their aerobic capacity. A link to how to perform each test in detail will be listed below this video. With regards to the athletic population, we have 3 main tests that we can use as well. The first and most widely accepted as a valid and reliable marker of aerobic capacity for the athletic population is a VO2 Max Test. This is a laboratory-based test that measures the maximum amount of oxygen an individual can consume during intense exercise. Next, we have a Cooper test. This is a test, 12-minute run test that assesses aerobic capacity by measuring the distance covered in 12 minutes. And finally, we have a beep test. Some of you might remember this test from your physical education classes in school. However, still a very reliable measure of aerobic capacity in the athletic population. This test can also be referred to as a 20-meter shuttle test. This test assesses aerobic capacity by measuring the number of 20-meter shuttle runs an individual can complete in a set period of time. I personally use a test very similar to this test called the Yo-Yo IR1 or intermittent recovery test with the athletes that I work with. The Yo-Yo intermittent recovery test is very similar to the beep test as it assesses an athlete's ability to perform multiple 20-meter shuttle runs in a cascading time frame, which essentially means the time for each shuttle run becomes shorter and shorter as the test progresses. A link again to all of the above tests will be listed below this video. These are just a few examples of the many different tests that can be used to assess aerobic capacity. The best test for a specific individual will depend on their goals, their fitness levels, and the available resources you have as a coach. Next, we're going to talk about how to program for aerobic type training. And in order to do that, we need to first understand heart rate training. Heart rate zone training is a type of training that involves working out at specific heart rate ranges to target very specific physiological adaptations. By monitoring your heart rate during exercise, you can determine which heart rate zone you're in and adjust your intensity accordingly. There are typically 5 different heart rate zones, each with specific targets. Zone 1 to 3 are your aerobic zones, and zone 4 to 5 are your anaerobic zones. Zone 1, which is considered to be 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate, this is the easiest zone to work in and is often referred to as the fat burning zone. It's great for recovery workouts or for building endurance. Zone 2 is considered to be 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. This zone is still relatively low intensity, but is more challenging than zone 1 and is often used for building endurance and improving overall aerobic fitness. Zone 3 is considered to be 70 to 80% of your maximum heart rate. This zone is referred to as the aerobic zone and is ideal for improving aerobic capacity. Workouts in this zone typically involve sustained moderate intensity exercises. Zone 4 is considered to be 80 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. This is the anaerobic zone and is often used for high intensity interval training, or HIIT as it's sometimes referred to. Then we have zone 5, and this is considered to be 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. This is the red line zone and is typically reserved for extremely intense short duration workouts. It is not recommended to spend much time in this zone. It's important to note that the specific heart rate ranges for each zone can vary depending on individual factors such as age, fitness levels, and even the medication use that someone might be consuming. So now that we understand our heart rate training zones, let's see what type of programs we can construct while keeping within zones 1 to 3 so training stays aerobic in nature. Here are some examples of aerobic sessions. Session number 1, continuous steady state cardio lasting 20 to 30 minutes. With this type of aerobic training, you can utilize exercises such as walking, jogging, cycling, or rowing. The intensity should be kept at a moderate level for the full 20 to 30 minutes, which would be zone 1 and 2. Next, we have interval training, which can last anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes per interval, with 1 to 3 minutes of active recovery between each interval to bring our heart rate back down. You would repeat this pattern for a total of 2 to 3 times. You should be in zone 3 when you're working and back to zone 2 for your active rest or recovery. Finally, we have resistance training or circuit training. A workout consisting of several different exercises performed back to back with little to no rest between is a great way to develop aerobic fitness levels. For example, completing lunges, RDLs, push-ups, pull-ups, all back to back. It's important to note as coaches who prescribe programs to the people that they train, if the goal is to get 4 to 5 aerobic sessions in per week, and you have prescribed 3 resistance training sessions for that individual, as long as the intensity of the resistance training session is not too high, hence they train at an intensity of less than 80% of their 1RM, and the resistance training session is kept to hypertrophy-based training, so that individual will also develop their aerobic energy system due to the nature of hypertrophy type training. If they start to train at high intensities like 80% and above, such as max strength training, they will tap into their anaerobic energy system or their alactase energy system, something that we will cover in a later video. Keep that in mind as you move forward and plan your program design. These are just a few examples of the many different types of aerobic training sessions you could prescribe. The specific workout will depend on the individual's goals, fitness levels, and available resources such as training equipment.